Welcome back to 20 Car. The 2026 Hummer H1 arrives as a reborn titan and American Colossus carrying the memory of deserts, battlefields, and broken trails, now infused with the eerie calm of electric power. It feels like a contradiction in motion, a machine once defined by diesel thunder, now stepping into the world with a quiet, deliberate pulse. But paradox has always been the H1's native language. In this latest form, it becomes something stranger, bolder, and infinitely more fascinating. The first H1 that moves more like a surge of light than a slab of steel. When you first see it, the silhouette hits you with the force of a half-forgotten myth. Flat planes, tall shoulders, and that unmistakably wide stance. It still looks like a vehicle built to stare down horizons, without flinching, yet. The new surfaces glint with a different kind of precision. The edges are cleaner, the cuts sharper, the lighting more architectural than military. A seamless LED brow stretches across the front like a luminous visor, turning the truck into a kind of electric gladiator. The body panels sit flush, reflecting the sky in crisp lines, while the underbody armor peeks from beneath like the ribcage of a mechanical beast. Every angle speaks of both the past and the future, the raw aggression of the original H1, softened by aerodynamic intelligence and modern restraint. Walk closer, and the details become magnetic. The massive wheels wrapped in rubber thick enough to shrug off claws and stones anchor the truck. Like boulders set into motion, the door handles feel milled rather than manufactured. Even the charging port hides under a reinforced flap designed to survive punishment from rocks and ice. This is still a machine that expects you to drive it through a forest, up a canyon, or across a field of ancient lava, but now it glows with an almost jewel-like sheen. If the original H1 was a brute carved from iron, the 2026 H1 is a warrior sculpted from technology. Inside, the transformation becomes even stranger. The cabin is a sanctuary of contradictions, rugged but smooth, armored yet refined, built for punishment but dressed in tactile elegance. When the door shuts, there is a soft, air-sealed thud, an entirely new sound for a vehicle born from military DNA. The dashboard spreads outward into wide digital wings, each one alive with information, animations, and modes. The center screen is like a command tablet, the driver cluster like a personal radar, maps render in deep colors. Battery levels flow like a glowing river, and torque distribution appears in living diagrams that respond to your every move. But the real magic is in the materials. Leather wraps around reinforced seams, the stitching thick and tactile like something from expedition gear. Metal toggles click with a satisfying resistance, letting you feel each selection in your fingertips. The air vents are sculpted, the lighting is accented with subtle pulses, and even the pedals carry a sense of deliberate weight. This is a cockpit designed for both explorers and storytellers, an interior that understands. You might cross a desert at noon, but still want the comfort of a luxury suite. When the sun drops behind the dunes, then comes the performance, which feels like a fable you wouldn't believe until you witness it. The 2026 H1 electric and multi-motored moves with a quiet brutality. Press the accelerator and the truck leaps forward. With a precision that borders on unnerving, there is no engine growl, no mechanical rumble, only a sudden wave of torque that pins your shoulders into the seat, as if a giant hand has gripped the vehicle and flung it ahead. The sprint from 0 to 100 km/h happens in roughly 3 seconds. In the top configuration, an absurd statistic for something that weighs more than a small cottage off-road, the capabilities become surreal. Activate the advanced four-wheel steering, and the H1 pivots in ways that defy its size. The diagonal crab mode lets the truck slide sideways around obstacles, like a massive reptile shifting through sand. Extract mode lifts the suspension half a foot, letting you rise above boulders and trenches. Underbody cameras paint the trail on your display, showing every rock and rut in real time. It feels less like driving and more like operating a creature bred for impossible landscapes. Of course, every monster has a niche to defend. The 2026 H1 faces rivals from all sides: the delicate, high-tech precision of the Rivian R1T and R1S, the aggressive futurism of the Tesla Cybertruck, the muscular American tradition of the F-150 Lightning, even the long-standing prestige of the Mercedes G-Class. Each contender carries its own philosophy, but the H1 occupies a stranger, more primal territory. It doesn't try to be sleek or understated. It doesn't try to be urban chic. It exists for people who crave spectacle and tactile strength, who want a machine that looks like it can tear a mountain in half and then drive across the fracture line. That kind of presence doesn't come cheap. Pricing sits high, towering even above many luxury SUVs. The top trims push into supertruck territory, blending limited edition materials with performance numbers usually reserved for sports cars. Ownership costs reflect this as well. Insurance climbs, repairs require specialized parts, and the advanced battery system, while designed for longevity, brings its own long-term uncertainties. Depreciation could swing either way. The H1's cult following may preserve resale value, or the rapid evolution of EV technology might erode its numbers faster than expected. Yet for those who buy with heart rather than calculator, the H1 isn't a purchase, it's a membership into a rare club, and the driving experience, above everything, becomes the heart of that membership. Imagine taking it through a canyon at dawn, the world still cold, the rocks painted in lavender shadows. You switch into off-road mode, and the suspension stiffens slightly, like a beast tensing before a leap. The tires grip the earth with an intimacy that feels almost biological. Pebbles crunch, dust swirls, and the quiet electric hum accompanies the truck like a background melody. You angle the wheel, feel the four-wheel steering arc the chassis around a boulder with fluid confidence, and for a moment it feels as though the entire vehicle is reading the terrain with you. On the highway, the experience becomes almost theatrical. Engage the performance launch mode and the H1 gathers itself. The cabin tightens, the digital gauges glow brighter, then the world smears backward as the truck rockets forward. A slingshot of electrons and momentum, passengers shout, your stomach lifts, the horizon jumps. And yet, even in this violence,